Damn. Hey, what's going on, sweaties all over the world? You already know who it is. It's your favorite internet sweaty, your boy Mikey Savage 21, bringing you another movie review. And today we're going to be doing a non-spoilers review of Black Panther. Alright, so I had a chance to check this movie out on Thursday along with the other early sweaties and everything, and I must say, wow. And if you got my reference in the beginning, then not only are you a wrestling fan, but you're also a Kendrick Lamar fan who also produced the music in this film. Alright, today what we're going to be doing, guys, is again, we're going to be doing a non-spoilers review, and maybe at some point I'll be able to do a spoilers review, possibly maybe on Monday or Tuesday, not quite just sure just yet. So we're going to be structuring the movie reviews a little bit differently now. I want to have it more organized and more focused and everything. So we're basically going to go down 5 categories that relate to this movie review and then finish it out at the end. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the overall plot breakdown. Okay, so again, Black Panther is the latest Marvel MCU, and it basically tells the story of Chadwick Boseman, who is playing the character of T'Challa, aka Black Panther, and he basically has to come home and be the King of Wakanda, but he finds his leadership challenged by a longtime adversary in a conflict that has global consequences to it. Alright, so that's basically the nutshell. Again, you have another superhero film where we're getting the introduction to him, but unlike most other films, T'Challa already had his introduction. In case you don't remember, he had his appearance in Civil War, which, again, you got to say that him and Spider-Man had some of the best, most standout scenes in that movie, and you can also say that his overall plot cut straight through the middle, basically, in terms of Civil War and everything. So one of the things that I'll say about this is there were some main themes in this movie, and one of the 2 main themes that I think I found in this movie is we had somebody question leadership, which we often do in our society. We question who is in charge of us. What's the leadership like? Where are they going to go from here? What are they ultimately going to lead us to? And then I think the other main thing that this film really focused on a little bit, when is it a right time to get involved? Now, you hear people talk about wars and everything, and should the United States get involved, or should this country get involved when somebody on their neighboring country is getting into another war and everything. Some of that goes on a little bit here, and the question comes up of whether or not, as king, should T'Challa get involved more with the world. And one of the other main themes that I'll say is just kind of like another co-theme here is overcoming the past, or not doing the same thing what previous people did. And one of the things that people always say is, don't be as good as me, be better than me. And that's one of the things that I think really makes this movie stand out that Coogler has directed here, is the theme of being better than what has already done. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is the character performances. First up, we've already talked about Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, aka Black Panther. Again, we got to see him in Civil War. We got a little bit of introduction to him and what it means. We got to see his relationship with T'Chaka put on display more in this movie, but we got to see a little bit of it in Civil War as well. Next, we have Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger Stevens. Again, the way that he is used in this film, some would say he is one of the better villains that we've had in Marvel, and I wouldn't agree with that. I agree wholeheartedly. I think he's one of the best parts about this movie, because what Michael B. Jordan is able to do with the characters, he's able to embody the character and give you some credence, and you actually feel for this character. Next, we have Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia. Again, she is essentially Chadwick Boseman's love interest, but what Brian Coogler does is he subverts the obvious. Yes, she is a love interest, but at the same time, she has her own story, has her own goals, her own mindset, is trying to do her own thing, which I really appreciate, because we could have just stuck with the same stereotypical thing where hero has a girlfriend is kind of pushed to the background, but no, she is right in the forefront. Just like our next character we're about to go into, Danai Gurira. Most of you know her as was shown from The Walking Dead. Yes, she is a badass on The Walking Dead, and yes, she is a badass in here as well. She is playing the character of Okoye. What I like about her character is you can tell she's really faithful to the throne. She takes her job seriously, and she's willing to protect T'Challa or whoever is sitting on that throne at all costs, even if she doesn't agree with what's being said or what's being fed to the people of the Wakandan nation. She does everything for the good of Wakanda. Alright, next we have Letitia Wright as Shuri. She is basically the Iron Man of this movie. She creates all the gadgets, and she's also the sister of Chadwick Chadwick Boseman's character as T'Challa and does all his suit upgrades and everything. So all the cool action stuff we get to see him do with this suit, thanks to Shuri. All right, again, rounding up, we have Angela Bassett as Ramonda. She actually plays his birth mother and is the actual Queen of Wakanda. Next, we have Forrest Whitaker as Zuri, who again is like the royal advisor, basically, to like the Merlin to T'Challa and T'Chaka as well, respectively. He is like their royal advisor. He's the wisest one of them all, and it's definitely about tradition, but at the same time, going back to what I said about Okoye, is willing to do whatever it takes for the good of Wakanda. Last but not least, we have Andy Serkis as Ulysses Claw. I will speak more about Claw later on when I get to the negatives, but I love Andy Serkis in this role. So getting to the next part, we're going to talk about the negatives, what didn't work for me. And getting right into it, I had two main negatives with this film. I didn't like the way that Andy Serkis' character of Ulysses Claw was used in this film. I felt like he was underutilized in this movie, which makes me very sad because, again, we got his backstory and introduction of him in Age of Ultron, which I really enjoyed him in that movie, and I thought we were going to get a little bit more insight, and we kind of did, but the way they ended up using him towards the latter half of the film was a little bit disappointing to me. But at the same time, I completely understand it that he wasn't supposed to be the big bad, that again, Killmonger ultimately was supposed to be the big bad that T'Challa had to ultimately overcome and face, and not Ulysses Claw. But there is some very interesting scenes with Claw and Black Panther as well that really stood out throughout this film. All right, and I would say the only other negative that I really had about this film, besides the Andy Serkis thing, would be the mention of what's to come in the future. Now, there is something that happens in a post-credit scene, and again, I'm not going to describe the post-credit scene, but I felt like the post-credit scene felt like it was shoehorned in there. It felt somewhat natural, but at the same time, it felt like, why would you use the post-credit scene for that? I mean, you have Infinity War coming up next. You would think you would be doing an even bigger tease to Infinity War, but ultimately what they do with the post-credit scene I felt was just kind of like a waste. Although again, I see why they ultimately did it, because again, you have people who don't really study up on all of the films. Other than that, given my final thoughts on the movie, I do think Black Panther is worth your time. I do think Black Panther is a movie that you definitely need to see opening weekend and definitely need to see in theaters in general. Again, this movie blew my expectations out of the water. Ryan Coogler has done it again. And again, the relationship that he has with Michael B. Jordan shows that these two are great pairing, just like Scorsese and DiCaprio. When you get these groups together and have these pairs do a film together, they always have great standout moments. And the same thing can be said here with Michael B. Jordan's character of Killmonger. I like how Ryan Coogler used him throughout the film. I felt like he was one of the best villains we had, certainly in the top 5. And hopefully at some point I'll do a discussion about some of the better Marvel villains that we've had. But he's definitely up there, I would say, with Loki and with Winter Soldier and some of the other villains that we have been introduced to thus far. But alright guys, that has been my non-spoilers review for Black Panther. Let me know what you think of Black Panther down in the comment section below. Have you seen it yet? If you have, please make sure you do not post spoilers down in the comment section below. I implore you, please. We will do a spoilers review at some point on this channel, and then you can spoil away in the comment section. But for right now, just post your general thoughts of what you think about Black Panther. And if you haven't seen it yet, did my description get you enticed for this movie? If it has not, have the trailers got you enticed for this movie? Has the overall hype from the other critics and fans got you hyped up? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you again, as always, for checking out the channel. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you like this movie review and you want to see more movie reviews like this. Also, make sure you smash the like button because it helps out the channel tremendously. And again, if you haven't already, make sure you tap the little bell if you are already subscribed so you'll be notified every time a video drops. Make sure you stay tuned for the upcoming videos that I have dropping later on this week. And I want to thank you so much for watching this video. This has been Mikey Savage 21 saying later, guys.